Okay, let's kill the music and let's get down to the business what we can do today. Fambulem, ladies and gentlemen, today, the 17th Thursday of September 2020. I repeat, today, Thursday, the 17th of September 2020, we once more bring a very special program to Una. We still not overcome with technical issues them as yet because we get issues with broadband. We always want to tell we guess them that, so a little bit of freeze here and there. But trust me, the technicians are working on that and we try to improve them badly. But thank you so much to everybody for tuning in so far. So it's like say people are listening, so we don't multiply. We don't get 40. We was just 20, now we are 40. I'm also saying that since we are 40, let's multiply it by 2. So Fambule on allow Sharon once more and Sharon, the pyramid effect. That's what I expect to see. Because what we're about for talk on is a national issue. A very welcome to my sister-in-law, Sister Kabe Masakoi, all the way from Australia. Sister, welcome to the program. I guess all is well. Thank you very much. We're about to talk something with a national issue. When I say national issue, I mean real national issue. And we are always the same, despite the inconvenience, despite the differences politically, despite everything else, the things that we bind us is greater than the things that we sort of look like it is separate we. When I see the question I ask, aptly put, are we having a Robert and Grace Mugabe moment? All the people that within on the platform know what a Robert and Grace Mugabe moment look like. So the question, are we having such a moment? Are we having a Ferdinand and Grace Marcos moment? Imelda Marcos, rather. This is now a long time back in the 1980s in Philippines. In other words, you have got the business of government. You have got an elected official, in this case, the President of the Republic, who rules and derives his power from the sovereign of the country, who happen to be the electorate. So therefore, you cannot rule without their consent and say you rule by democratic process. No, that's not democratic at all. Everything you do is in line and consent with the electorate. That's what a democracy is. Sometimes via the elected officials, maybe parliamentarians, and on other occasions, like the president himself can be direct, because the president on Asiso, he get boku power, heavy power. This power where the president gets, now it can confuse most of we at times. It can sound like say some people like you want to interpret them as absolute power. And the last time I checked Fambulem, we don't have a monarchy in Sierra Leone. We have a democratic process in which we people then go to the ballot box and elect the officials where they want to govern them, and even that governance gets a period. Nothing is absolute, and we really need to understand them as such. Hello, Mr. Sheku Kanu. Hello, Mr. Junior Cabo. Hello, Rich Hammond. Where are you, Bobody? Mr. Hammond, thank you very much. On a more serious note, the reason why we can get checks and balance now with democracy is for avoid a situation where somebody they begin to look increasingly like a monarch, increasingly like a king. We can go any way they want for go. Zainab Keller, welcome to the program. But the checks and balance we put now with system, they allow we for check with president. They allow we for ask for transparency. This now is civic and constitutional responsibility. I repeat, for ask those questions, matters of state, whether or not the president remain accountable to the people. As long as we understand them factors there, then the rest will become very, very simple. If we, of course, in every society, you get a degree of sycophancy. But the sycophancy sometimes can run very, very deep, and it comes in two forms. Either you understand, and you do it deliberately, for provoke a situation, and you support because somehow you benefit from the system, either financially, not morally, by some political connection, tribal, regional connection. So you they listen to what they say, or whether the thing makes sense or not. That may not matter to you. And you get the people in way not just out of ignorance, then just the follow as other people in the lead, as other people in the talk. This is why it's necessary for them to have such conversation. But Fabula, I want to draw this thin line that first of all, as per the Constitution or as per the Constitution, the president gets immense power. But that immense power then the Constitution also provide a checks and balance for them power then So even we, the ordinary masses, as we look like, we're still powerful because now we dictate the pace. Although we can get the opportunity once in a blue moon. When I say blue moon in this sense, they set an election date, and when we upset with we government, that's when we go exercise that constitutional duty day. And once we go exercise the constitutional duty, this is where the verdict is made by the people, for the people, with the people. So once you know they govern with the consent of the people just need for be patient, and that they go come. But here is the other factor. We make we ask the question whether we are having a Grace Mugabe moment na Sierra Leone. Fambulem, like I say, most of una, if not all of una, know the story. Grace Mugabe is the widower of the late Robert Mugabe, a man who I admire, by the way, because I'm a Pan-Africanist, but on a reasonable level. And I talk from a scientific point of view. I know they talk out of emotion, and they talk out of science. Until we know say science exact. So this is why I talk, because even the democracy itself get questioned, not to a perfect tool at all. So sometimes I make the arguments that can go on and on and on. But in Zimbabwe, not too long ago, was the first lady, a very young woman, that the power that be in Zimbabwe under the late Robert Mugabe, he married this very young woman when I be secretary to the presidency. Of course, all of that not important. What's important here, when they got married, because the partner being an older man, the woman, took hold of the reins of government. When I listen to this, please. The woman took hold of the reins of government, and as such, she became very dictatorial. Imagine, she wasn't elected. Because again, Fambulem, we need for understand these things, the complexities of government. If we don't understand them, we actually need for take a back seat and observe and listen. Yes, they not say you should be silent, but try for talk something where you understand. Now that you for talk, when you don't understand, it don't mean say you cannot partake in a public conversation, because sometimes you feel compelled to, so that you don't look left out. But the best way you can do them, now for ask questions. Don't make statements when you don't understand something. Ask questions. That will rather be a good thing. So Grace Mugabe, now he single-handedly, when I not elect na Zimbabwe, now he been run the government of Zimbabwe. Now he been a dictator waiting for B and waiting not for B. Imagine this now corruption to the highest order. And this, it caused some serious affliction with people. So even though you can be a law figure, but when you begin for transgress, when you begin for trespass, then you are stepping on dangerous grounds with the people. And worst of all, when you've got no respect for the people, then obviously that will be times 2 or even times 3, the way the people even they look at you and they deal with you this time. The reason Fambule where I give the Grace Mugabe story again, because it ended badly for him, is the people that show say, but we can't take this, we cannot have this. Despite the questionable circumstances of the late Robert Mugabe in election victories, at least there was some exercise of democracy in which there was some organized business people went to the polls and cast their ballot. Okay? Of course, opposition always complain foul play. But in this case, at least the exercise did take place. How come a woman who is married to the president and get her own largely ceremonial role happens to be the one that is dictating policy, that is all over in government? These are the tendencies of dictatorship. This is dangerous. So hence the caption, are we having a Robert and Grace Mugabe moment in Sierra Leone? And this goes directly to the beautiful couple where we are seeing at the background, where happened for be His Excellency, the President, Head of State of the Republic of Sierra Leone, ex-brigadier or retired brigadier, Julius Maada Bio, and his beautiful, beautiful wife, Mrs. Fatima Bio. Mrs. Fatima Bio has shown some insensitivity, just like the Grace Mugabe. I mean, you can like the woman, you can love the woman, okay? But you need for separate in beauty with in action. Because we seem for to get a lot of things confused in that country. And I make us say there are two sides to it. One of them is the woman has got immense power because obviously she's the first lady. But because we live in a democracy, under a democracy, for, by, with the people, there are checks and balances in the system which prohibits certain things. It's not an absolute monarchy. So loving the woman, you should equally make it explicable to her that in need for know where in powers cut off, in ceremonial powers cut off. She cannot interfere with the matters of state. Of course, she can do them privately, but via her husband, because she can equally advise her husband. We need to understand these technicalities. But it's open story. It's no secret any longer that Mrs. Fatima Bio is stepping on the toes of very, very many Sierra Leoneans, and it's not going down well. Famulem, it's time to have an honest conversation. An honest conversation should be able to help the nation, should be able to help the woman herself, the first lady, for let you know in limitations. You know, let me be cheeky a little bit. You can come out from some side way in the wildest dreams now you life. You not expect for find yourself, outside you find yourself. By action of faith, then one day we're spiritual, we're scriptural, then it come to pass. Or maybe some people, the way they're looking gone, sometimes they've been not looking gone for them long time ago and say, you go there some side very heavy one day because they never be specific, then go just, you know, yeah, talk on that open way there. So you will be big person. Big person can be ambassador, you can be very successful in business and what have you. But it come to pass that a woman is now the first lady. But when you check the background and the roots, and I'm not faulting her about this, something obviously has gone to the head of the first lady. Because it need for no in rule, it need for no in cutoff line. It's time that we talk, but it's time that we talk the hard talk. In as much as it can be inconvenient, the truth has to be said. And the truth here is, the first lady, they overstep in mark. It don't overstep a couple of times. You feel say it go back off. But no, she's very challenging. In fact, when people they say no, that's when she says yes. They want to let everybody they say no. Because she wants to show that as Salon people can say the Mamina power. Yes, you know the Mamina power, but your role where they play is largely ceremonial. Advise you man now the background, not to the foreground. You don't do that. When you do that, you offend people. And even within the ruling party, the Sierra Leone People's Party, she has offended a lot of people. I mean, the nation is one nation, one people. Despite the political divide, we do have conversations with the same people. We all talk, we meet, we socialize, we talk. So this is no deep, deep secret that she's offending a lot of people. A lot. But we can equally understand some people not able for talk, especially the one the way they within the circles of power because of their daily bread. I mean, again, the moral side of the thing, this is where the problem is. They cannot talk because of survival. That's where they derive their survival from. And once that survival is, it's pathetic, ladies and gentlemen. Once that survival and not pull and come up on them, they definitely go down into hard time. How do you support? And I'm not condoning this in any way, shape, or form. We just try for provide the analysis and try for give a balanced story as to probably, and we know some people are really upset with the way she's going about things. And some people are some of the people that we upset, they are close to her. And we know that. Now the power structure, that's where you derive your benefits from. So how can you oppose the hand that feeds you? We know that. That's philosophical, you cannot. Because if you do, you become obviously the loser. That's what you become. You become the loser. And you go get for make a choice whether you want to be of moral standing, integrity, professionalism, or you want for bend down and keep to, you know, something we're not righteous, we know they go right for the people of Sierra Leone. Fambulen, going back to the first family, we come to the point just now where we are now because it comes from a long way. This story what we talk now is real because it's happening. You know, you get story when a fairy tale and you get story where it's real. This story is real. The first lady is stepping on many toes. The first lady is no secret that somehow she's the de facto ruler, and I use the word again, in inverted commas, the de facto ruler of Sierra Leone. She says what is going to happen, who is going to be employed, who will not be employed. And this is where the damage is coming from. Because in a country of 7.5 million and still counting, where you forget professional people, where they run things, we know how to run things, we know how to plan policy and implement them, we're able to look into the distance and see exactly what government wants for in people and how to go about them. It cannot be because you don't find the people with the right mental aptitude, with the qualification in the places where they need for be, because obviously they are not in the love book of the first lady. Some of you go disagree because you want to disagree, but the points, the fact just points to exactly what I've just said. Now, make us say it's not deep secret, but for understand this, first of all, we need for have an agreement, a contractual agreement, that the first lady has a ceremonial role. The ceremonial role where you get still now very, very powerful woman. Imagine now in husband, now in the head of state. It's not the other way around. So you can tell your husband something that net behind the domot, or we they have on a private time. We will come to the word private just now. We they have on a private time, but not when you are in public. You, for example, let they go do the work of somebody where the president appoints. The president appoints such person because the president has got confidence. Now make it clear the physiology as well. The president enjoys the confidence of this person, or vis-a-vis, the president enjoys the confidence of the president. Now he make the president elect such person. When the president stop for enjoy the confidence, or this person stop for enjoy the confidence of the president, that person is gone. They are fired. So the first lady can be influential in that sense there, but not behind the door, not to before the door. Not to you they elect. The people of Sierra Leone did not elect you. So we need to understand that. Once we understand that, then maybe we will come to the bigger understanding about the governance of the state, the first lady in role, and how it can play out. The reason why they believe on the first lady, because I've tried many times, I think since we've been doing broadcasting for almost 3 years now, I always try to avoid the first lady, because the first lady get enrolled for play, obviously, and you don't try for play some other role there, but most times she just gets it wrong. When it comes with projects such as Hands Off Our Girls, that's a brilliant initiative. If anybody not back that initiative there, then of course that means they not like the first lady. I can say that for sure, because the initiative of Hands Off Our Girls, it's so relevant now with society, rape here and there, abuse, of minors and etc. So it be necessary. And who else for carry that burden there other than the first lady? But no sooner, you don't carry something as good as that, it come out to the public, and the way the first lady carries herself, this is one of the major problems. And then you get people the way they say, of course, we don't, we just say this, no names, but people who are saying the first lady is a different first lady, it get in your style. Well, nobody is saying that the first lady should be a traditional first lady. No one is saying that. The first lady can be completely different. She become an innovation, something where else other people and for emulate and follow. In the 21st century, 2020. There's nothing wrong with that. But you tell me, who will want to emulate the examples of the first lady, the way she conducts herself, the language that she speaks in public, even when you're upset? Why will you be ranting? This is what the problem is. She is supposed to be the other fountain of honor, because in husband are the #1 fountain of honor in the country. And we don't need for breakdown waiting at the fountain of honor. We don't. Because it's known to every one of us. We Sierra Leoneans, we are not fools, neither are we idiots. But certain, your quarters, they try to make like say, we are idiots and fools. No, we are not. And not because you have power now, means you for misuse them. Because power, you can misuse them, you can abuse them, and I make all in terms than they did in the book. Because if you don't govern accordingly, then obviously you are abusing what is being entrusted to you. Let's face it, the people of Sierra Leone are the ones that employed the retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, so they work on their behalf. So the people get all right for ask questions when it becomes necessary. And they talk about relevant questions, then they talk about cheap questions and the politics where people can normally want for play. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about proper democracy, even within many contradictions. The people of Sierra Leone, this is just a fact, are the employers of the president. The president derives his power from the sovereign, the people. And in the system we live in, there is an accountability process. It's not an absolute monarchy. So the president, coming back to the point, cannot just disappear and reappear as if he's a magician. So yes, he gets in private moments, and the same thing will be non-lecture this before. That was a complete lecture. Long time ago, I think about a year ago, when I remember the story because we quick for forget, about Dr. Abbas Bundu, the Speaker of the House, when he was caught in a compromising position. Of course, then the argument began here and there, some for, some against, which is a healthy thing to do under a democracy. Again, the democracy will permit we for do that. But when he was caught, the argument where people have been tried for make way support him was he gets in privacy. But it's the same thing that applies now. The president has his privacy and entitled to his privacy. Just like all other government officials, then get the entitlement to privacy. And so are we, the ordinary folks, the citizens, we get with privacy. But Fambulem, privacy stops being private when it's no longer private. Waiting, I mean, if you not keep your secret fine, it's no longer private. And when they talk about the presidency, this is what it means. It get in privacy, but not as much as it keep them private. Not when it comes to the public domain, because remember, it live on the taxpayers' benefit, on the taxpayers' money. So yes, you get that in privacy, the way they be in do, waiting happen, then I happen there. But if waiting you do be in do, come on a do, why should the people not talk about it? Why will people not be interested? It's common sense. Now, common sense, fumble. If you're not able to keep you home, in other words, things private in there where you don't want for come out, now the privacy down the way that they talk about, or not go, you know, you're a person of interest because you're a public official, and the other thing down the way people need to understand. I know many times people will say, come up behind the first lady, you know. If she was not first lady, why would I be interested in her? Why would I be interested in her? Do you understand the correlation? Because she's a first lady, she's a public official. That's why me and many others, including yourselves, have got vested interest. Panam. If she wasn't the first lady, then of course I would have trespass. And then get court procedures. You see, everything a procedure. They get court procedures for that because I go to trespass now in space. I go even the troll them. Where again, within social media circle, trolling on that basis, where you not just private person, you can go lodge me complaint to the police and action will be taken. But she cannot do it because I haven't crossed anything way offensive other than trying to know something about a very public official. We get a very powerful pulpit and get a very powerful bullhorn where when you talk, it means something. Now, when you use a sentence like, we go mob justice now, or we go begin mob justice now, this is what it comes to as we see the unveiling of mob justice. Who do you blame? If there were an investigation, sure enough, she will be a person of interest. Sure enough, she will be a person of interest. Brother Kai, I know say you want contribute. I go give you point for let you contribute, but I want to let you call back in about exactly 8 minutes, yeah, or seven minutes, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, somebody want to contribute to the program, but are they in the element really? I go take few calls. But this is the thing now you would need to understand. So if I talk about the first lady, if I put a story out there about the first lady, let's talk about the substance of the story. Don't be personal, because you're wasting your time. It's like you're wasting water on a duck back, because that's not going to make me to step back. I'm not abusing the first lady. Of course, I got high respect for her as a first lady. I've never really gone personal. Now, issues now they talk about. I hope I make myself clear on this. So recently, Fambulem, the president, I want to use a respectable word other than disappear, because I want to talk about efficiency, negligence, and unprofessionalism. So, because I don't think that we can get conflicting again as well. The president entitled to in private moments, of course. And I just say, in private moments, now when they keep them private. The moment is no longer private, now we don't count on the public domain, and the public has got interest to demand because he is the president. The people have got the right to know at any time, any moment, whether at 12 o'clock night, 5 o'clock morning, for know the whereabouts and well-being of their president. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So don't get offended when people ask for the president. More or less so, when the circumstances with this recent one warrant people for be troubled or worried. Yes, some are hypocritically worried, but some are genuinely concerned. But the bottom line is, there should be concern about the state of being, the state of well-being, the whereabouts of the president of any country all of the time. Let me enjoy that, underline that. Let me understand that. All of the time, there should be concern for the leadership in any country. Because not a small job, not a cow already they run, even cow already and get rules day. Not a granite farm, even granite farm rules day. So the higher the hierarchy, the more serious the thing is. People in lives then are your hand. Decisions has to be made. Such is the significance of the situation. So recently, the president fly out of the country. Now listen to this contradiction, because it's not funny. You can see, I mean, these people need to step up the game. Other than that, we can come to the conclusion that we, the people, we, the electorates, are being taken for granted. The game needs to be step up. Stop making a mockery out of yourselves, because not a we that they make mockery out of. The president left for go out. These are some of the things. The president getting right for go out when he want for go out. But even when the president want for go out, he need for telling people them, say, oh, I not get for day. Oh, I they go for 2-3 days, I they go on patrol. Even on a lower scale. The thing is so obvious. I don't know why it become cuscas back and forth. The president has to. He has to inform his electorate. But let me say the privacy we talk about is relevant in this case. President not well, president, one go on one quick private thing, for go talk let people and not know, which is wrong. But as long as he remain private, he remain private. If we don't know about him, we don't talk about him. But if we know about him, it definitely comes. And this is the situation. So the president they left because for that president let them spirit him in and out. He had. Because leakage go come out, even from that team day, leakage go come out. This is not human nature. So when the president they go, for cover the president in go one, this is where something what they call lies started from, because this is, I mean, it's disingenuous on the part of government and the people the way they manage the president in caseload, go and come and the rest of it. And that goes to the press secretary. It's disingenuous. It's disrespectful to the Sierra Leonean people. And we need for to talk these things them as such. No disrespect to them, and they talk about the circumstances and the situation. This is exactly what they talk about. It's disingenuous and disrespectful to the Sierra Leonean people. One release come out. One press release come out. And we know why the press release come out? Because now the same thing I don't say. Because the people of the country has to be informed on the whereabouts and well-being of their president. It's a must. It's a requirement. And we understand what's in a requirement. So under that requirement, because you need for sure reason why, that's why you come out with that thing the way, na protocol. And these are some of the governing system by protocol. So they release this press release for tell we say, hey, Fambulem, preso no de ou, or preso de go, but na so patrol and preso de go pan. Fambulem, I don't understand now. I don't see the necessity. So yes, under that protocol, it can be say na private, depending on the nature of the visit where the president they go pan. But listen to the contradiction. And this is what give away whatever they try for hide. Because this one statement, press release, get two different explanations per now. And again, you get for understand a little bit the nature of governance. Lilibit. When I say Lilibit, myself now Lilibit now understand. But then Lily protocol there, and out of common sense, we know that this is so relevant. This is why they have to tell the electorate. The president not just there by himself because now he's the most powerful man. Like some people like he say, no, you can't ask questions, you can't say this, you can't say. Who told you so? Do you know how powerful the electorates are? They remain ordinary in a different sense, but very powerful to make a decision, to put the man where they say, well, this I will not decide, say, they rule we. So that man, they owe them a debt of gratitude and professionally for tell them and constitutionally for inform them about in whereabouts, and the people then get a civic and constitutional responsibility for know about them president. It's as simple as that. So, the same press release get two different explanations. One was the president they fly out go to Lebanon for some rest. Okay, and then the second part talk about Prezo they go Lebanon for go consolidate bilateral ties. You see the disingenuity there. You see how unfortunate the whole thing is. And once you begin one lie, we know this. Psychologically, from a psychiatric point of view, you therefore create a trail of lies for cover the last lie and the last lie and the last lie, and then eventually you are exposed. Let me look at the state of Lebanon first of all. Let me see how President Minigo. Okay? Lebanon now almost a failed state, if it not already failed in many respects. Security is not guaranteed. It's just a fact, and it's out there. Go do the research for yourself, or just listen, do basic Google research, listen to basic news then from major news channel, the BBCs, the Beebs, the CNNs, the RTs, and you name it, MSNBCs, and etc., etc. Lebanon is in turmoil, it's in chaos. So now, the president choose for go. The economy of Lebanon has collapsed. And when economy collapse, now catch nine and they catch things. And security-wise, those of who understand geopolitics, you go see, say, the country divided along political lines, and it's not new. You get Hezbollah at the south of Lebanon, where don't come into mainstream politics, and then a parliament, and they help for make decision. When they go down well with major Western countries, then when they back the government of Lebanon or Lebanese as a whole. Hence, you been see what the thing happen. The French president, Emmanuel Macron, go down there for go express solidarity. This night they call for go and go. This is exactly why I'm making this point. This is what they call going to strengthen bilateral ties and express solidarity with the people of Lebanon. But the press release where we own president release, the press secretary release, say they go strengthen bilateral ties. Show me one example, tell me one example, Fambulem, also it go strengthen these bilateral ties. Una show me one example, una show me one official way he meet the president of Lebanon, where don't resign, I think he wait for then call elections. And how can you go to a state where, virtually they collapse and you don't get much for go offer them? If you want to offer them anything, you can stay in your country. If you get money, you send it to them. Say, now we own small Andy so. But they want lie to we. Broad daylight, which is a travesty of justice, a travesty of democracy, a travesty, complete travesty. And they owe the Sierra Leonean people an apology for this. But we know say that apology day, not they come anytime soon because they're cooking the lies, which give rise to something obviously must be wrong. And if something obviously wrong, we're not saying that they have to come out with it, like in bold letters. No, at least that's not what I'm saying. Because the president could very well be feeling unwell, okay? And this is not the other thing again as well. Because these are the principles and we govern the seats that the president entitled to in privacy, and just some protocols them around the presidency. Why again? Because the people has to live, or they get for live in contentment. They really need for live in contentment. They need for be satisfied. When I say satisfied, they talk about the political structure, not to the bread and butter, because of course that's difficult and that's not what I'm talking about. But just knowing that the president is okay, that the president not well, So the well-wishers, they're going to wish the president well. But again, there's no need for declaring publicly. But what is wrong with having used the word or the phrase routine medical check, which is another entitlement for the president? What would have been wrong if they be used such a phraseology inside that letter they that released it? The president is going for a routine medical check. Because from that routine medical check, anything else can develop. But at least, let's listen to this brother. Hello, caller. Yes, sir. Yeah, of course. Thank you for calling. Of course, we will take your call now. But if you can just quickly identify yourself and where you're calling from, and you can make your point where you are, make, sir. Okay. 1 minute, Ben. Okay, Fambulema, I hope you know the caller. That's Mr. Benjamin Yakaibanja from all the way in the United States, and they don't state in position. They one can talk and defend the president. So I hope you know the area. Fire away, Ben, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so start with, first of all, there was level of analysis, level of the open mind. And sometimes we may disagree and okay, I agree, but look at the open mind. Sometimes those assumptions is right and wrong. So start with first, there was a press release for the issue. And the state of Russia, they say they go on a private visit at the same time they go on a bilateral issue. We all know how the world operates. We live in a world with a small global world, and any president even wants it that. Any president who plays golf test, you do your presidential work. If you go to the ball field test, you do your presidential work. We certainly you live in this world. The president in office in any time where you go, whether you go play football, whether you go play golf, they carry the officer. So the government, any president, they go play golf at the same time they carry the officer function. When did they go Lebanon? They say private visit. Lebanon also Lebanon government invite and say, come here for no. They go there, they say they go on the private visit. But why did they say they conduct bilateral relationship with Lebanon? And I'll see you say Lebanon for is true. Give me 4 parts Lebanon. But we got to say we got numbers and everything. Any day president in Mata Biyogo na Guinea, I like to go tell you who I do na Guinea. In the government, because in a president. So even if I president, we don't go on the private visit, and we won't see that's somebody not to clip on the government, also go rest to everything, private house and everything. But that doesn't mean that the president, they will have that company, they don't see the government. They don't happen that way. So even the when our president says, go up and there's something of private and Sabuno, it doesn't mean they don't belong to the government. So the press release, the thing is not outside the book. They maintain for a week. They had a person out to take the only week. And we all don't see to go on. They put them go sometimes, they start go for a week, but something come up them for state, another down for state. Then let me come back to this particular issue. Particular bill, and 2 things I want to look at for. Is a Sierra Leonean, like me and you, with an opinion, like I'm going to give opinion. As a first lady, there's no law in the field. So when you become first lady, you write to a political view and speak, they don't carry from you. No. There are two political view, two advisors to his husband. It will be an husband advice whether we want or not to, and whether we let or not to, see that. They don't do that before ever president you become president. And when you become president, everybody is not hallelujah to you. For not everybody is effect. And when some people got it wrong, and particular view is here, then they take the most consequence for everybody. There's nobody in your law today. When some people wrong against the view, when it's not as consequence and particular view. So they say, right, or speak of today. I mean, all fun. Let's put over the government of the country, yes, Madam, but they are not doing anything. If they don't speak up now, or things go wrong, speak on wrong. That's the report. And let me see your Africa. Any African man, when you look woman, as you don't know woman, the only woman could work. Right? When people begin to hallelujah, when the church come because, first of all, they're shooting for all the stuff. Right. This great matter for the view that to the stage, or what one not who be the issue. That's the certainty. I like to what it is. But the certainty doesn't mean that you break the law. And people that make that the own of corruption, no. For me, it's something where you the poor, the evil, you don't enjoy the certainty, but doesn't mean that you think that's why you don't break law. And two, the things that all have done. Norms that when I'm so and only did before, but not to law, you know that. For instance, what ready for this, for go in already in I want a good place, it's not that no. But you said no, you're not the eyes, you know, I don't before. I'm that different. I want to book up and I want to see the back and anybody want to work on the man. That's just that they want to work more than the provoke who told you about the government done and see the government done. Anybody want to the man. I want to see people don't get about what the person can want to want to
okay. Okay. Okay, Brother Ben. It's just because of time. I get for let you go. I mean, even get a few questions for you, but we'll get for let you go. I will address them questions then because you made quite some very good points. I must say, quite some very good points. But the bottom line, Brother Ben, is in fact one or two questions before you go. Do you think the way the first lady, they speak publicly, will you endorse that kind of speaking there? Will she appear for be some example, where the younger people can go emulate? No, Ben, Brother Ben. Let's not be generous with semantics because that's what you appear to be doing. I ask you a straight and simple, straightforward question. From the way out, you've said some beautiful things. I understand where you're coming from. But from the same first lady, the way they conduct in business publicly, the languages, the way they use, very colorful and etc. And it's supposed to be the money for the nation. Would you see like somebody where the young one and for emulate that? Will she be a good example? I know they put you spot on and you will get for find your way out of them. But yeah.
I want to spot on. Me, I always said, every when my parents, where it says you beginner, they wrote money for people politicians, then you did that means you instead of
okay, I get you, Brother Ben. I must go, Brother Ben. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a caller from the United States. You're obviously defending and but in a very clever way, because to me, they try to explain as to why. It's not like it's not disagreeing, but explain as to why it happened. This is my take, but una can make the judgment on ourselves. So anyway, back to the president. So the police press release will look contradictory when the board have been explained just now. We get two parts to them. One, demand they go consolidate, bilateral. Where if you understand the consolidation of bilateral, it had nothing to do with that. When the government official where he meet, it was met by doctor or private or wherever, and ended up where he ended up. Only, and this is important for let we know, line of investigation. Only when there was a leakage from a Lebanese network, now in the story begin for change. And this was a leak. When I say leak, of course, the Lebanese people and publish the Jonas, they understand them. So we got wind of that story and publish them. And obviously it became an issue back home. And then they begin for calibrate the announcements and way they make. So at some point now, we say the president don't recover. Imagine that's a critical word. It was nothing about rest. Of course, private, then you go turn on to rest. But had you used routine medical checkup, then obviously it would have been a simpler task. But then there was nothing about them what we talk about. And then suddenly the second part to the release says the president, don't recover. And even that recovery day. Now Lebanese TV and Lebanese newspaper, now they we hearing from. So what are we hearing about recovery of we president? Now, whose term, something come up from this, to this. It sounds almost upside down. There is no equivalence. I mean, they play football and suddenly they say recovery. But the in-between waiting happen, whether I at me foot and then go lay me down on side and later on I recover. There's nothing in the middle. So I mean, they go consolidate. And social media catch fire again. Oh, I know say we sister and then na Lebanon where they suffer, which is true. And that make the president. But of course, you see the cyber brigade then go immediately into action, which is always the case. So we need to have a frank discussion. They are just there to muddy the waters, deviate the argument, throw one or two red herring into the talk, and that is it. It go under the table. We live again for another 2, 3, 4 months, and then something major happen again, and then the same thing occur. This is how we've been living for the last almost, I don't know how many years now. This is exactly what how we've been living. And this just need for end, because you know the profit we. But all they go and come. I mean, let me try for quantify by waiting on come as opposed to waiting on go. Let's be measured in this sense. Waiting on come as opposed to waiting on go. Waiting at the net benefit. If you want to calculate, you know, you're waiting on go and waiting on come. So something really, really need for change, family. This now we say. This now we say, and family, we really need for understand this. And this now happened. So here we are, we feel vindicated, you know, here 2 weeks on, that we know say a president, if nothing not wrong, this is it. If nothing not wrong, no president they goes on side when he goes on, because a president most times can not get in calendar for almost 1 year, bruh. 1 year. This is not to play, not to play catch, not to play cook. Now, presidency, now we talk about the man, not a small man. We know, and when some people are not a small man, not big man, we know this. Nobody no need for tell we. He is our president. He's the fountain of honor. This is why we hold him in high regard, high respect. This is why when we suspect something, this is why we cry foul play. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody know for take him personally. Let's talk substance, not personalities. Let's talk issues. This is not the only way we go able to arrive. We disagree and we agree. But that was wrong. And then people and the president need for holding responsible. How would they calibrate anything there? How would they formulate anything there? So when we people then they get this confused, because it's not as simple as the way our one put them, but they could have done a better job. Are they afraid for associate the president with the term medical, routine medical? Now that medical they try to avoid it. So if that's the case, is there something medically wrong? So therefore, you not even want to mention the term medical, because the president is entitled to that, going for a routine medical checkup. And in my own humble opinion, I think that would have been the most appropriate. Because should anything have happened, like waiting happen after 1 week, the president don't rest, but you not feel too comfortable, and then put them back, say, well, the president is taking for the rest. But because we know, say, now some process now the president go pan. But you go pan consolidating bilateral talk. Oh, so you extend the visit because the talk not consolidate proper, you need for consolidate them. 2 weeks of taxpayers' money? 2 weeks of taxpayers' money, and people think it's funny? And here is the insensitivity what I talk about on my social media handles the other day, where people, you know, long before the word is being used now, I pride myself as one of the people that will use them first. And you can check that up again on my social media handles. And I got lampoon again for that. But like I say, it's wasting water on dog back because I'm talking about issues. Some people, anyway, you can expel come on your page. But you left them, they let them express their buffoonery. This is complete buffoonery, and people they watch while you do. And some people they ask them, hey, but what's happening? Because you become so personal and you they use words them where you're not even supposed to use. They talk about hatred. Hatred is such a strong language, but on whose basis where you think say somebody hate? Or for criticizing, for being a critique. So now you hate. I mean, this kind of cheap stuff, you know, yeah, should stop. We're not casting innuendos. We're not look for people, let me know, for they throw invectives and hominem on people and the rest of it. Let's talk and let's talk issues. Let's talk substance. This is what I'm interested in all along. That's why being where some people sound insulting, you are still trying to engage them so we can talk, because I'm not perfect. I'm not a linguist, for example. If I write, and especially social media writing, you forget to cross your I's and your T's. That happens. Let's say you use your keyboard by your phone, you know, and as something where you want dash out quickly. It's your responsibility for look and find before you send them, but there's an understandable norm within social media circle. But social media is here to stay. So After the president don't go 1 week, then they change again, say the second week. Then after Lebanese media don't come up for say the president has recovered, whereas the people of Sierra Leone were never informed about whether or not something we apparently get attachment to recovery process. There was nothing of that kind. So the people of Sierra Leone were mystified that suddenly the president, I mean, for goodness sake, recovery? What's that recovery? Or what's wrong with the president? Because we're going to consolidate ties on a private visit. But the president and Motamani is sick. Coming back to the first lady, on the second week, the president, first lady, sent a text message out. You know, people already focus on social media. I don't know whether others and they derive joy from that, you know, yeah, like when the first lady spark social media. Yeah, of course, she's a person of interest. The woman, she's heavy. She's the first lady of our country. When you say something, people and they follow. So people they listen, and then the woman texts how you call them, honeymoon activated. Honeymoon activated. But una say for the support, bro. Come on. Una, if you don't get them, you just think so. Yaso no more. Na yaso no more na day. Take a step back from your hand. Maybe there will be space between your hand and your face. Disagreeing no mean say you not support. Critiquing no mean say you not support. I supported President Marabio after he got elected. I declare him as the father of democracy, where most people out of different reasons say no. And these records are there to be seen. Go on my social media page handles, not just the talk for talk's sake. I talk much about the manifesto, the SLPP manifesto, because there were key things and they will be so good that if they were implemented or been implemented, they will have been so good, or they will be so good for nation building, nation development. One, the free education, which I now believe was not properly articulated. I know they expect gains right now. It might take a while, but something where they take a while, say for let it be, you can see, like I can say, married we get for sweet, now from day one. So I back that, because that's a good policy, Dandy, where an entire nation go benefit. I look at the agriculture policy. I back that. I look at the tourism policy. I back that. So I am more of policy, and in fact, that's what I studied. I am interested in. Not entrenched views, and some people can want to take them. No. It's about policies. If your policies are right, I say it in public because I'm not under the control of anybody. I've got no permanent friends. I've got no permanent foes. Not at all. Not at all. I want to talk on substance, and I want we talk about that. So the first lady, she is not elected and she's a powerful woman. Like the last caller say, the first lady can talk. He can advise, of course. Una say not for advice your husband, but Una tell you for the advice the husband in public. Una tell you for the take action in public. Una tell you say it should be a known factor that Una the first lady wants, despite the person not qualified for an office, now in the go sit down at that office day. Why should it be that way? At the detriment of the vast majority of the people. Because first they did not let this person, and this person qualified for be the agricultural minister, we go bring benefits to the nation. It wouldn't be because he advised him and make him public as well. Let me just take this last call. Hello, caller. You need to introduce yourself and where you're calling from, and if you can make them brief, please. I'm about to close the program.
From the United Kingdom. And first of all, I want to congratulate the analysis they made today for the program. I mean, the presentation you made, the evidence base and also put together, it was amazing. Because what you do, this topic where you tackle something, a very, very important topic. And like we said earlier, all what you have written on transforming president just left me no more, it left me in the lurch. The indignation of the first lady for telling me that they in the honeymoon where the people in the salon is suffer. Up and down the country, people in the suffer, there's lockdown, there's all sorts of things going on in the world. Can you imagine, even the heads of states of ECOWAS, the West African Economic Communities, they go meet for a meeting for talk about the thing they want to monitor and the sub-region, you know, with all the problems, with all the devastating economies, all this global pandemic don't bring come. And the president, in first lady, they go send message on Facebook, say, then they on honeymoon. Can you imagine? What indignation? I mean, it was beyond description. I could not believe people want to go on social media when they try to defend this. It's shameful. I say shame to those people. I mean, they not get the feeling for them fellow Sierra Leoneans in that country. How come the first family, where apart of God, all the people in that country they like, like the first family, the presidency, and I will treat young people as young citizens. People don't get that power. People don't get that office the way before, so they get all sorts of facilities for work for the people. At these trying times, when you hold the face, you know, this is a global pandemic going, Mr. President. You know, people in there, even at the country there, you all kind of lockdown, all kind of the country don't lock down. Now it's the beginning of this small. You dey go, you say, first of all, a private visit for a week. Then somebody said it's been extended. Now they don't turn to honeymoon. I mean, this is beyond belief. How could this be happening? I believe say we Sierra Leoneans them. It don't matter if you're not people today or you not whatever political party you belong to, whatever political persuasion, we should not come together and say this enough is enough. The abuse that they get from this first lady is too much. You don't abuse the people and all the time. We don't see so many videos where they don't make. You know, this is just too much. We don't forget about all the time you take the plenty, Mr. President. I mean, you take on this topic very trying to input on the point where you bring them. You know, it's amazing. When they take I just want to make this short comment to more. Take it to all the people who don't contribute positively by this program tonight. It's a remarkable program. Thank you.
Many thanks, Supermed. Many thanks. Many thanks. I really appreciate that, and your kind words as well. But the kind words is just a reflection of the reality, because we need to look for people for just, you know, self-praise. And the brother, of course, makes a very good point. And I just want to make you understand, say, he is the co-host of the channel now. We get a program inside Salon today, and they come this Saturday. If you remember last week, Emenge Amadou Koita, comrade Amadou Koita. So comrade Amadou Koita, they come back this Saturday for part 2 of Unfinished Business, where I believe, say, the brother, they can grill them inside out for let's substantiate probably some references to some of the claims that we make. But that's on Saturday. Thank you very much, Supermed, and you have a good night, brother. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, Fambulem, we're about to wrap up the program now. But here we are. For wrap up this program, this is the thing. And I want for them we listen, you know, proper. I don't think there are any issues of hate here. Let's make it clear. And some people that we can go and use that strong word, they hate. Then deliberately they try for so discord now we community. That's what they're trying to do. Forget others them, you know, for kind of back them up. That's exactly what they try for do. But this is not going to work in any respect or sense, because the Sierra Leonean people are too savvy for this. This was a major strategic blunder beginning from that first press release with them pool. A contradictory, it was unprofessional. And then when word come on Lebanon, and they change them again. And just like the last caller say, the first lady, with all due respect, they go send text at that time day for say honeymoon activated when una left the Sierra Leonean people in peril. When the Sierra Leonean people, the COVID-19, because when I put them out, a lot of people come with different defense. One sister, they will write brilliantly, but make one or two major errors. Where now like COVID-19 is being taken care of, and what have you, why can the president not go? Which was completely wrong. The data points to the fact that the numbers are going up. The second wave of COVID-19 is here, which brings me to the point for Ask Una Fambulem. Una be very careful, and that goes to every one of us. It's real, it's out there, and let we be really careful, because government can't take this anymore in terms of the economic situation where they go on. Western world, billions, some countries, trillions lost, and the need for recoup because government need for continue. And we equally need for worry about we own side and what we come out, we brothers and sisters back home. The economy is in dire straits. The Leone's a day in free fall. Yesterday it was something is almost 13. Imagine that. And it's been like this for quite a while. And who knows, from the way how things look like, it's even going to be worse. For it, it's difficult. It's a difficult moment. So what we say is, government self, they under strain. We can understand that. We not can't do anything with provocative, say you not pay people like this, or electricity, they go and one have you by all the promises the way you make. That's not what we've come here to make. But we just say this is a very critical time when you for identify yourself with you people. That's the point that we are trying to make. This is the very time when you should identify yourself with your people. This is the time when it's not sympathy, it's empathy. Because sometimes back we can misuse the word, although it can be used interchangeably. But it's empathy. That's what the government needs to show. This is what this First Lady, Mrs. Fatima Bio, needs to show. She needs to exercise some degree of respect in the way she speaks to the Sierra Leonean people, where they finance all in activity them. She just needs to know this, okay? You need to know this. You can't sit down, and speak so scornfully to the people them. You rant to the people them, you disrespect them, and you're supposed to be the mommy for the nation. You can't do that. Some of the talk the way you talk, I can understand the vexation in the issue of rape, but you have to be measured, Madam First Lady, when you did before the camera. The position where you occupy is completely different from that position where you've been occupied 5 years going beyond. Completely different. Where you talk on social media, they talk what you want for talk. Now there are protocols into what you they do, and people they need for understand this for God's sake. You know, we left you people in peril, and then you text honeymoon activated. How can honeymoon be activated where every day you people are getting affected and infected by the coronavirus? How can honeymoon be activated where every day people are not get daily food for eat? How can honeymoon be affected where mama still a struggle for feeding and picking them before then they go school? How can honeymoon be activated where the economy they in dire strait? How can honeymoon be activated where the difficulty in the country, the loans they in free fall? People they take salaries. There's blackout in the country. This is outright provocation. And if you don't understand all of this, now in we call insensitivity, and the word is used. And this go to the people the way they support you. I support you myself. But I know they support some of them talking the way they talk. No. So I'm one that will come out of that side, and tell you, no, Madam First Lady, this is not right. You're supposed to be a shining light on top of the hill. Then hills, then they were in then mountains, then they were in Sierra Leone. For like others, especially young ladies, we want to be, your first ladies, or some, some other powerful lady, for represent true feminism. You're supposed to be such example where all them picking go look up to. Say you did on top of them mountains and look at who you come up from to where you did. But you speak disparagingly to your people them. That's not a moral example. That is simply wrong. And going back to you, man, of course, he's your husband, but don't forget, Madam First Lady, please. He is our president. We elected him. Before you became First Lady, we gave him the mandate. Had we not given him the mandate, you would not be First Lady. So on that basis alone, you need to understand how to exercise some degree of caution in the way you speak to the Sierra Leonean people. We don't want a Grace Mugabe moment, to be your end. We want where you don't left power by, because of course, everything is time. It's time frame where you don't left. Let we look at the beauty in you, and we see and reflect inside you, not only the outside or outward beauty. We want to see the real beauty as per what you they do. Beauty not only come by the face, it also come by the action, how you demonstrate, how you carry yourself. Madam First Lady, this is what I have to say. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, we don't come to the end of this program. If all is not well, I join the millions of others and pray that all is well. If all is not well in terms of the economy, I pray that government will find solution so that the economy will be fixed, so that we people then will find respite. If all is not well socially, which is tied to the economy, I pray that solutions will be found. I pray that we all go able to bridge we gap, because it's getting toxic, don't get me wrong, and the divide is widening. And some of the very leaders, them we're supposed to lead by example. We're supposed to bridge them gap there They are not doing that. But because by doing that, they become irrelevant to the conversation. Or so they see themselves, becoming not see themselves so. Because if you care about legacy, something very important, after you've passed, after you've gone, what do you want to be remembered as by? If you care about that, you for they promote peace, not disunity. Also, you think say they survive for now, which is artificial. Stop for interfere upon government outrightly. This is advice going directly to the First Lady. You are in control. You don't need for show that more. The power already know that you control them at the background. When you come at the foreground, you can pretend if you want. Those where they say, yeah, I mean, you get a style of your own. Of course, you get a style of your own, but the style is offensive and it's becoming more and more offensive because you interfere outside people and not put you. Your husband, like I say, now we elect him. Had we not elected him, you wouldn't be a first lady, so you have to exercise some degree of respect and restraint towards we. You can't sit down where you don't go do your wedding, you sit on a national TV and speak. Even water, they did not give me. Even penny, bow outside the husband in strong old day, you say you can't send 1 cent day. But we can understand, yeah, not pretend because some people, think say the first lady is spot on. No, you're not spot on. These are errors. It will fine for let you listen to your team. Let them prepare you. You can shine more than you shine, other than for browbeat, knacky chest, like some gorilla, bam, 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 for sure. This is my kingdom. I am here. What I say here will be here. You become redundant and irrelevant and a mocking stuff because your circle of trusted aides and friends go just the shrink. You want the support of the people, the masses. That's what you want, Madam First Lady. And to do that, it's a fine art. It's a fine step that you have to step. That's what you need to do, Madam. Listen to your team, your PR team. Una can get back and forth and, and sort of brainstorm. And eventually what you will arrive at, you will prevail, but on a more sensible scale. Anybody where they tell you otherwise, now because they did and they enjoy from you, so they allow you for the go so, but you're not winning hearts and minds, Madam First Lady. You're too beautiful for that you not left an everlasting legacy in a positive sense in our country day. On this note, I want to say goodbye, Fambulem. I think we've said enough, and I think we've made our points very, very clear. Just like we begin, remember, say we come this Saturday with Supermed, and Comrade Quater, they come back the second term. We can clarify some points then we talk about. I have been your host and presenter, Prince Emil Chroma. Today, the 17th, Thursday of September 2020, I begin with Emerson. I want to end with Emerson. I see we're fully loaded and I can go on and on. 170 people then. Dear, una please advertise. Una please share this video. Let more and more people see it. I also don't put with social media page on YouTube. We look for the numbers, please. We appeal for 500 the other day. Inside 24, 36 hours, we get 200, but with 300 short for each the mark. So please go to the YouTube page and subscribe. Subscription is free. And then they ask you any question as to bank statement, you name your address. No, just click the red button, the bell, bam, that is it. Let we learn for show solidarity to itself, despite we not agree and not miss it for wish each other bad. On this note, Fambulem, I want to thank you very much for listening and want to have a very, very pleasant weekend where they begin tomorrow. Prove me wrong, BBC African politician, them teeth in me own Okay, family, like I said, we don't come to the end of the program. I'm not looking like for just switch off, but honestly, we don't come to the end of the program. I know the program is so great that we still get 110 more people still sign on. And 110, we are on a shave to another 110. We want thousands of people for watch this program here tonight. So again, the program has come to an end. And no one sign off on Una. So please, Una, sign off. And they play Emma singing song one more time, and then I will kill the program finally. If you not shake, we